have your attention, please? It is time for fucking Tuesdays, episode 20.
Yeah, special edition maybe, because it's our 20th episode. What's special about it? I have no fucking clue.
We have an absolutely full whiteboard.
A lot of good ones on there. A lot of requested stuff. So, this should be a good one.
A plus to the listeners who listen and request things.
Yeah.
I don't...
Feedback.
Last one was dark as shit. I mean, we've got obviously a couple of things that are probably going to go less than butterflies and unicorns, but for the most part, this is a fun, happy one. So, buckle up. Let's dive in. A healthy mind lives in a healthy body. This was a special request from one of my favorite semi-listeners. So yeah, the healthy mind, the healthy body thing. We covered the mental health manifesting as physical issues, but we haven't done it backward. So, physical issues manifesting mental health. Seasonal depression is the number one that pops into my head. Like, this would be physical environment poorly affecting your mental health. And whether you believe it or not, if you're from Indiana, or anywhere in the Midwest, or probably anywhere on the planet, you suffer from seasonal depression. Everybody gets sad when it's relatively cold. So, darkness hours, I'm talking like there are physical and mental processes that go into this. You go into depression. Just like an animal, your body goes into hibernation in the cold months. Food will be less accessible. I know it's not, but we're talking the lower brain shit here. You're going to go into a form of hibernation. This is literally depression. Slowed, less energy. Everybody suffers from this.
That's like summertime for me.
Okay, so seasonal.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
It doesn't have to always be the cold, but your body goes through physical changes.
It's more common to be with the winter weather than it is because it's darker and...
Well, especially in
things.
polar regions. You have to figure, as you get up into the northern latitudes, you're talking where seasonally dependent, you have either, majority night or majority day. Think about how that affects your mood and mindset.
Yeah.
Where you have, let's say, 22 hours of daylight in one part of the year, and then you have 22 hours of darkness in the other part of the year.
You get up into the Arctic Circle and you're talking about
Months.
3 months of darkness and 3 months of
It's not darkness, right? Like they do get a sunrise, sunset
sun,
kind of thing.
It does come over the horizon, but it doesn't come fully up.
I mean, there are times where, it's just, you have this pale creep on one side.
Okay, so that was just one example of physical manifesting mental. But you also have things like sugary food and caffeine. Do you know how many caffeine addicts? They're like, I'm immune to caffeine. It doesn't affect me. I drink 4 BFCs a day. Well, how do you sleep?
Then catch them in the morning. Do they have a headache?
No, they probably didn't sleep all night. They think they're an insomniac, but it's because, it's 6 a.m. and I didn't sleep, so I'm going to crack me another fucking Red Bull. I'm going to drink me another pot of coffee. Congratulations, you're fucking yourself over at 6 in the morning after saying, I'll never do that shit again.
That was something I suffered as a kid. I would drink a lot of sodas and a lot of energy drinks and shit like that. And then as soon as next day rolls around, or even 2 days later, and I haven't had that caffeine intake, and you feel the headaches, the body aches, the miscellaneous start to set in from literal caffeine withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
And anything can be a drug, when taken in excess. That's the body's natural response.
Well, I mean, literally, you can die from water. It's very complicated, other than drowning. But, to actually die from an excess of water in your system.
A lot of it's lack of salinity.
So it's almost always overhydration is you going dehydrated, and then they hit you with straight, pure water. So, you need electrolytes, which is why I'm always preaching. Either drink Gatorade sometimes, or mix, this is the one time Red Bull actually is. Chug 6 bottles of water and then have a Red Bull. That's fun, the healthy mind, healthy body thing.
So, B vitamins are a big energy booster. B6, B12, those are your natural energy boosters. boosters. But at the same time, if you're taking excess of those to get that,
I don't know that I would call them natural, exactly. They exist very, very rarely in nature. Like the riboflavin, the guarine, these are another, like, that's the chemical compound name for the B vitamins. I don't remember which ones they are, but I want to say each B vitamin has its own name that you would recognize.
But, there are herbal derivatives for those.
Yeah, but super rare. Like, I get it that now as humans we have a greater access to this shit. But I'm talking our animalistic side, like our lower brain. If these things weren't mass produced after extractions in laboratories, like, I love Red Bull, don't get me wrong. But I have a very bad tendency to overdo it. I think this is number 3 for the day. And the first 2 were 20 ounce. But it's been a long fucking day. And I will sleep great tonight because I do know my body.
Alright, so there's a lot of, mental, shall we say, meditation and things that you can do for stress relief and focus and, shall we say, centering your energies or chi to bring your bodily processes back down, bring your blood pressure, bring your
You're skipping 6 subjects. We're venturing dangerously close to prana.
It's part of
no, I'm saying, yeah, no.
That's still on healthy
I
body.
know. Isn't that the fun of fucking Tuesdays?
You can mentally affect a little bit of your bodily processes through your mental focus and energy. But, man, when it spikes, sometimes it doesn't matter what the fuck you do. It ain't coming down. That's where healthy mind lives in a healthy body. If you have a decrepit body, one that is fighting you every step of the way, can you have a healthy mind?
Oh, I think entirely. And that's the soul fire part. You can either die with your fate, or you can burn the fucking soul fire, stop making the goddamn excuse, and fucking live. You got 2 options, bro. Pick one. 70 years. That's what it takes your average human being to stop living. Occasionally, they get murdered. Younger than that. I shouldn't even say occasionally. That shit's common as fuck now. But that's literally the fate soul fire conversation. There you go. Check that in front off.
We still have no idea why or how Frankie died.
Oh, I do actually. But this is not going to be found in a history book anywhere, I don't think, because the way I got it was from a fucking medium. So, there you go. Your random magic fact. She was stabbed to death. That's the closest thing to any actual fact I can find, and I can't even close to verify it for you. So, other than that, you got a headstone. And probably not a single person on the planet other than us that remembers she's here. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, the 7 people she knows lives within 3 miles of here, and most of them think about her once when I mention her. Everybody she knows to haunt is in this room. Or, hey, welcome to the Haunted Podcast.
So, who's Frankie?
She is a little girl buried in the backyard. Well, 200 yards that way. I can walk you to her grave.
Yeah. Her name was Frances A. Pace. Buried in
1850s.
1800s.
I want to say 1856. I have multiple
4
rubbing.
rubbings.
This has been going on for years.
But anyway, yeah, she's buried up there. The headstone reads age like 16 years, so many months, and so many days. So, 16-year-old girl. No idea how, why.
There was no record of her death as far as what happened.
As far as we know,
yeah.
The existing records of this property were beyond that.
So she was buried before this house was even thought of, homie.
Oh, long time.
Like, that exists from pioneer days.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but close. Like, pre-Civil War, this was frontier.
So I assume she haunts the house then?
She's a classic good-willed poltergeist. She can affect her surroundings in other ways than manifesting.
Has she ever manifested?
No.
No? Okay.
Not 100%. Like, shadow people are a very common thing in this surrounding property because this and the neighboring property both have innumerable accounts throughout decades of, again, things that you just can't debunk. There is one possible way for, say, a noise to happen. Well, you heard the noise, but yet there was no one there to make the event happen, to make the noise. I'm trying not to give too many specific details because of the location, but
there has to be some sort of physical interaction.
Yeah, it's a specific item being moved across a surface that creates a noise, and nothing else anywhere that you're going to find in there makes that noise.
Have you seen it move or come in and it's in a different place than before when nobody else
You
was
will
around?
find things in different places, but it's always when we are generally in another room and you just hear the noise, but you know, like all the people that are on the property are accounted for, and you hear the noise and you move out there and there's no one there.
Let's just say a very rational mind deems it as supernatural, if that makes sense. Like, I get it, we are crazy, but we see more because we look for more. When you have an idea that there is nothing, you stop looking. You put your blinders on, and even if you see it, you won't admit it to yourself or anyone else. So limestone, though.
It's a very strong paranormal conductor.
Limestone is one of the best crystalline structures, in my opinion. It's just, it takes so damn much of it to do anything. It's so basic. Like, it is lime.
You think it has something to do with its interaction with water?
Sorta. Water finds soft spots. Like, it will eventually erode granite down to nothing. It's not the San Bernardino range, I don't think, but it's one of the SoCal mountain ranges. It's the oldest one on the planet, as far as we know, and it's just big-ass blocks.
Right.
Of, like, pure freaking granite or some shit. Because that's the only thing that stood the test of time. Speaking of which, the Washington Monument, the largest obelisk in North America, which was commissioned by the largest group of Freemasons dedicated to a 33rd level Mason. Sorry, I was thinking of Scientology, not whatever. Which crazy group of fuckers do you want to talk about? Yeah, 33rd Masons, Washington. His monument, which is made out of pure limestone that came from over there. Literally, it's 20 miles from us right now? 25, maybe on the long end. The Washington, that's all, like the Empire Monument is, you drive by it every day. It says Empire on the bottom of the fucking sign. Literally, in 1 foot tall letters, it says Empire. Where did the Empire State Building come from? Bedford fucking Indiana. Anyway, okay, so obelisks. Known since ancient times to mean a lot. They were worth carving out of solid stone to erect. That's, what are they channeling and who's channeling it? This isn't 3, 5, 7,000 years ago shit we found in a desert. This was 200 and, not even 250 years. Like the same government, the same Articles of Confederation, no, wrong one, Constitutional Republic. The same constitution that we still follow now. The one they drew up all those years ago had 10 fucking commandments. What are we at now? How many amendments? Yep. We the people, by the people, of the people. How many people are left in our government? If you take out all the possible lizards, and I'm just talking possible, like not, well fuck, even if we just took out the probable lizards from Washington, how many humans are left? Okay, tell me things about Chernobyl. It was a partial meltdown
All right.
in Siberia.
The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear accident that occurred on 26th April 1986 at the number 4 reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant near the city of Pripyat in the north of the Ukraine in the Soviet Union. It is considered the worst nuclear disaster in history, both in cost and casualties.
Hold on. Chernobyl is in the Ukraine?
Yeah.
Is this what you're telling me?
North of the Ukrainian SSR in the Soviet Union.
Okay, so it's
right.
in Russia.
Have you not heard about Russia, like, taking Chernobyl back?
No.
Yeah, that's been a thing. Has anybody noticed, like, the whole Ukraine thing is just kind of, like, tapered off? We don't hear much about it.
I live under a rock, homeboy. I just got TikTok back, and all I do is watch people, like, make things. I fucking enjoy the shit out of it.
So there have only been 2 nuclear energy accidents rated at 7, which is the maximum severity. Like, we've already mentioned this before.
Fukushima.
And Chernobyl.
So Fukushima is much worse than Chernobyl, in my opinion. Fukushima was a partial meltdown that was stopped by precautions, if I remember correctly.
Shoved into the ocean.
Chernobyl?
No.
Yeah, no, Chernobyl was partial. The only reason Fukushima didn't fully melt down was because it's in the ocean.
Proximity.
Like, so that's, Chernobyl isn't, as far as I'm aware, there is no slug still radiating. It's contained at this point. Fukushima is still radiating at an alarming rate. Like, it's fucking shit up wild in the West Pacific. And nobody talks about it.
We still don't know the extent of the effect it's going to have on the ocean.
1,500 years.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse for 1,500 years.
Yeah.
And then it will start to radiate out. And at that point...
Well, how far is it going to spread by then?
Oh,
yeah.
All right,
it already has. It's already all the way
Have you seen the fucked up level at which the ocean is? It is the oldest existence of primordial ooze possible. Like, there are creatures in the ocean older than record.
I never even thought
We're
about that.
still finding
so
many new
What
creatures.
you're getting at is that this is going to start breeding a whole
It's
generation.
going to cause mutations.
Era? What do you call
Things
this?
that we won't even know about, like, potentially ever.
Oh,
Like,
and
are so fucked up beyond our understanding, because things that we already don't understand are going to get more fucked up.
so you know
And,
that,
like,
that depression thing earlier? It's all based on energy. So the things that grow up around a nuclear slug, and I'm not talking grow up from like infancy. We're talking from literal. The building blocks of these creatures is going to be radioactive.
Yes.
I don't. Wouldn't it be? Oh my fucking Christ! If we're about to enter a comic book era, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
How crazy would that
If
be?
Batman, no, not even which. So radioactive spiders. If Spider-Man becomes a thing, but like it's Spider-Merman.
You'll be able to buy some radioactive spiders to bite yourself.
No,
You can use to bite
it's
yourself.
ocean though, man. Like
Oh, wait.
the ocean mammals.
They're going to be for sale all over Wish.com.
You don't know what you're gonna
You
get.
can probably already find radioactive spiders that will give you Superman or
No.
super
The
Spider-Man's
CRISPR
powers on
kid,
Wish.com.
dude, I swear to God, I don't. Maybe it was an alternate timeline, but there was a kid using CRISPR to add spider DNA to his own. Are you familiar with CRISPR? That
That's
RNA
a whole
thing.
other level of fucked.
Yeah.
Just to try to get to something. Jesus.
Oh, he's done hundreds of. Last I heard,
It's
he had
just
done
not
hundreds, and
good.
that was years ago. He's been doing this, if my memory serves, 3 or 4 years. Since before anybody had even heard of CRISPR, this kid just was doing it. If you have no idea what that is, it's genetic modification by taking your genes, literally modifying them in some way, putting it in a growth medium until you have a dose, and then adding it back to your body.
That can't be good for you.
Well, it depends on if it's done right, how your body reacts. Like, who knows? In my opinion, the kid's crazy as all get out, but that kid's a forerunner in science.
Yeah.
And put your money where your mouth is. You believe it? Show me. Don't ask somebody else to bite a bullet for you. Show me. Well, somebody needs to invent this aluminum before I can make a plane that'll go to the moon. So go create the fucking aluminum if you know what it needs to do. Chernobyl. I don't remember what the fuck we were talking about, but Chernobyl.
Yeah, we were talking about Chernobyl and Fukushima.
Dude, there's so... Oh, sorry, I interrupted. You were reading the thing, but I just figured that was kind of the whole plan for the Wikipedia, was eventually something would be like, yep, there we go.
That's what led us to Fukushima.
Mhm.
Just because that was the only one.
They're so
rated at
closely
that high
related,
of a
man.
disaster.
That's how we ended up deep ocean craziness.
Yeah. I mean, it was hitting our west coast in the air not long after it had the meltdown.
Let me put this into perspective for people that don't understand the nuclear scale. We've discussed thermobaric bombs. These things destroy blocks, and I'm talking destroy, like implosion, fucking.
It
it's
takes
nuclear
all
scale.
the oxygen out of the air.
Oh, but it,
Including
it
the
feeds on it.
oxygen in people's lungs.
This is why hydrogen bombs, hydrogen fuel cells are so dangerous, because they feed off the environment. So one could possibly destroy the world. That's I skipped a whole bunch of steps. Okay, so the atomic scale, that's what most people understand or think they understand about the nuclear scale. They understand Nagasaki, they understand the tests they were doing in the 50s out in the deep ocean. They were burying these things miles down underwater and just letting them off to see what the hell would happen. And it still caused like tsunami shit on local islands. These things were huge. Like, they're devastating, they're terrible weapons, and I hope they're never used in any way. But it goes so much bigger than that now. They're using elements now that are so heavy and volatile for these, like, it's still uranium or plutonium or one of those stupid dense, like the ones that everybody knows. But I want to say the isotopes that they used for Nagasaki was 234. The atomic weight is 234. They're using like plutonium-278 now. I know that doesn't sound like an incredible increase, but we're talking exponential amounts of energy. Like every extra molecule or every extra subatomic particle release causes its own reaction. And that's why they're so goddamn violent. Then you jump over into the hydrogen scale. And somewhere between that massive A-bomb and the hydrogen scale lies Fukushima and Chernobyl. These things are weapons-grade reactive materials, but they're literally just dumping so much water on them so fast that as the water flash steams, that's where the energy comes from. So they're controlled reactions. Let's say you get a plug in a pipe, and you're talking thousands of gallons a minute, like full rivers run over these things. But it's not a river; it's all lab grade. When that shit starts failing, man, you're gonna see more of these. FYI,
Have you ever seen
could be the nuclear fallout we die from.
Have you seen the TikTok where somebody records a reactor coming on?
Oh yeah, it wasn't the Large Hadron powering up, was it?
No, it was a nuclear reactor.
Have you seen that one?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, glorious.
I saw one where they were talking about the expansion and firing up the new wing of it or something like that. But
so CERN they don't like anything coming out of the LHC that hasn't been heavily pampered. The things that are in that building are monumental.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the most important site on the planet. Tokyo's talking about building a super collider, by the way. The old ring of the Large Hadron looked like a bitch. That's why Large Hadron 3.0, I think it's actually like the 12th loop they've added. They started with a real small loop back in the 40s just to see what the fuck would happen, and then they realized we need to go faster and faster and faster and faster, and each loop is exponentially faster than the last, but we're still not even... Actually, I think we can't approach the speed of light, even with Large Hadron. It just takes so goddamn long. Sorry, I like science. Bucket list is fun. I don't love the name, but I love the name. Like, it's everything you want to do before you kick the bucket.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do most people think? A trip to Florida? Like, dude, my shit's crazy. I want to ride a PBR bull. Swear to God, I don't know if I want to ride at, like, a champion in his prime, but, like, a retired fucking Alpo? God damn it, sign me up. Give me a helmet and one of those gore-proof fucking vests and a cup, but I want to ride that bitch. Fuck it, I make it 2.5... How long did you ride it? I might not even make it out of the chute, dude. Those things are fucking nuts. Yeah. Especially a retired one that hasn't been fucking ridden in 2 years. He's gonna give it one more good fucking crank and then he's gonna die. Yep. Just gotta survive that initial heart exploding. Pure adrenaline straight to every muscle for 3 seconds. Fuck it. It'll be a hell of a ride. I might die with him. No, I'm not ready for that shit. Okay, so I get why they call it a bucket list. But you know what I'm saying, like, riding a PBR bull versus going to fucking Florida.
Fuck, I don't even like Florida. I've got a couple of friends that live there. I'm sorry, but...
Dude, I like Florida in a few months out of the year or as a vacation with kids. Like, they love the fucking beach. And they're not ready to go to California with me.
So many people love the beach. Okay. I hate the beach.
So I'm not a beach person, but I would love to go to places like Florida, a lot of that Gulf Coast, to do a primal hunting trip. You know, like anacondas, gators, miscellaneous, dude. Just like, yes.
No, that sounds awesome though. Fuck anacondas though.
Can we go on a nutria hunt? Like you can hunt.
That would be fun.
That sounds like it's going to take a while, but I want to shoot. Well,
it just sounds like it's one of those. It's an environment where myself, I'm not exactly a water person.
Mm-hmm.
I can, and I do.
Swampy?
But
well, yeah, if you want anaconda and gators and
kind of Everglade shit.
That sounds
like
terrible.
Everglade Bayou, kind of like that. That
You're
level.
Camping out there and shit.
No, I'm just talking like
primal hunting, not primal living.
Well, I mean, literally.
With this guy, nothing surprises me.
Almost anything, like literally. Imagine your existence trying to do that, trying to exist and survive in that. You know, and it may not be for permanent or a long time, but imagine doing it for any time.
Any time would suck, dude. I'm down for an airboat ride, and then to the bar.
I'll help pull up a gator, and you can shoot it, and we'll take it home. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, imagine.
I don't want to fuck with an anaconda.
I'm not fucking with a big snake.
Well, I mean, just
I've seen that movie.
Literally, just being there
Yeah.
increases your chances of running across it. And
Yeah.
like, are
Dude, if
you
you
prepared for that kind of
If
thing?
you go there looking for an anaconda, I promise you, you will find one. Like, that's
Well,
how
that's the
magic
thing.
works.
I mean, I wouldn't be going there looking for one, but going there looking to exist within their realm or what has become their realm. Think about that one. Like, it's just literally like one of those places and things, and it's like, yes, we have been everywhere on the planet. We have managed to populate or colonize everywhere, but existence is hella difficult. And obviously, like, the extreme cold of the polar extremities, fuck a bunch of that.
We were born right in the middle, man.
But, like, not so much in the damn middle, because
Mild.
I mean,
Mild central.
we're in really mild central, yes, but go to the center, go to some of the Amazon.
Oh no, that's what I'm. We were
the rainforests of like our Andes. There's crazy fucking places that, like, man, like that. I like to think that I can survive through a lot of things in a lot of places, but as far as a bucket list goes, where's your most extreme? Like, man, one of those ones that would really challenge me would be one of those hella wet, awful, swampy, hella primal creatures that try to eat you.
See, I'd like to do something along the same line, but opposite corner of the country in Alaska.
cold. The extremes.
Grizzly bears, moose. I would love to get with the natives and go hunt seal and whale.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to participate in, but
And see,
I'm a whitey, so I couldn't.
I do like...
Maybe.
They let you go with the tribes.
You'd have to be invited.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds doable, but incredibly hard.
Yes, absolutely.
You'd have to probably live there for a
I
while.
would fucking love to.
See, as an ogre, you're pre-built for
I'm built for the cold.
cold climates.
That's a different kind of cold, though.
I prefer cold simply
Not
because
even because Anchorage, Alaska, you've got natives that do hunt seal and whale.
I mean, yeah.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
I'm an
technically-
Alaskan Viking.
I don't know, man. Both of those sound kind of extreme.
Although I'd really love to travel Asia, like all of it, and try all the different food.
So if you look at where people are the most populous, those are
Squid
probably
heads.
the most fertile.
Squid heads?
to traveling Asia,
Yeah.
sampling the food,
Yeah.
anything that comes out of the ocean,
Pretty much.
anything that walks the surface.
Pretty much.
I mean, like, that's
Whatever it is.
they
Camels, horses, crickets,
I
bugs,
was
whatever.
literally talking about this exact subject with someone just earlier.
Snoot to hoof.
There is a lot of that side of the world where culture is so much older. They don't have that cultural taboo of food. They eat it.
I think it's an education thing. Like, the higher the education rate, the more, I don't want to say westernized, but like new school, where you want fresh everything. You want, like, bleached products. You get to that point where you have an excess and you can be picky. I guess it's not exactly education. It'd be money, but
But this is like where real food comes from.
They just
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's horse, dog, camel, whatever.
I mean,
it is.
I'm
You go
sure
to the
it
market
does.
and that shit's still up on a hook twitching. That's how fresh it is.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Just be a leg of camel hanging there. Just muscles spasming.
Snakes, spiders, scorpions, mollusks, squid, like, you fucking name it. If you
So
can
look
catch
at the United States.
And every bit of it. Intestines and all.
Those places like, I really shouldn't name these, but Mississippi, southern Alabama,
Well, yeah.
the mountains of Georgia. There's places everywhere. We've got them here.
Appalachians.
pickled crow gizzards.
I mean, privilege, dude. Your ability to be it's your privilege to be picky.
Man, you can learn so much about a people's culture from their food.
And I learned that they're much poorer than a 6-year-old likes to eat in a lot of places. I'm not trying to be mean to the culture. I get it that, like, most people find this delicious, but I have a 6-year-old palate.
So also, like, anti-culture, like, one of my new favorite Indiana meats is beaver. Like, puns aside, legitimately,
I
it's
wasn't
actually,
even gonna go there.
yeah,
Then we went there.
it's a
Here we
really
are.
good meat. So
Beaver. Indiana beaver.
I have a
Hashtag. They used to make hats out of it, like top hats and shit, because it's water resistant. Nothing is waterproof, but you just rub a little mercury in there, and they work real good.
I've heard like local hearsay or what have you of the tail meat, like people eating beaver tail. I would shudder.
That is.
Think of the process.
That's kind of a
processing
survival
it.
food
Yeah.
because it's just fat for the most part.
What?
It's
whale?
No.
Beaver tail.
Beaver tail.
Mm.
Like it's pretty
Really?
meaty, but you do have fat storage in there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they carry a lot of fat and blubber on their bodies anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Like trust me, processing one of those things is a very interesting thing.
Yeah,
But
Is it blubber or fat? Like, real question.
it's fat.
it's a fat.
Yeah,
No, I mean, so like whales, it's just fat, but they call it blubber because it's purely there as insulation.
well, the blubber is what's between the skin and its internal organs and stuff like that. Like
Isn't that just fat though?
like a big thick? Basically,
I mean, it makes sense because sometimes they.
I mean that's what they rendered
for,
down
like,
to make
iodination
oil
and shit,
for
right?
lamps and makeup and shit.
Oh god, can you imagine the smell?
I was thinking it was a consistency difference. It's kind of like a.
I honestly don't know.
composite.
Well,
That's
like
kind of my
your
question.
basic fat you can render out, and there's nothing left. It's basically solidified oils, I guess.
Beavers count as aquatic mammals, don't they?
Whereas
Like heavily evolved for
like
aquatic.
blubber, you can render a lot of fat out of it, but there's still going to be a mass left. It's not going
Well,
to
you
all
have
go.
the
Well, I
skin
mean,
off,
if you-
Yeah.
So it would still be the same as like what they call the gristles, right? Those connective tissues
Kinda,
and
yeah.
shit that connect the skin. So I mean, I think it's very similar evolutionary as blubber. I mean, it serves the same function in an aquatic mammal. I love that we're arguing the difference in blubber and fat.
All because
Fucking
I was talking about
Tuesdays.
the
Well,
pain-
there are different kinds of fat.
Well, the painful process would be processing a beaver tail.
Mm.
I wouldn't know.
I don't want anything to do with it.
Processing animals like one to another, some are easier than others. But
I'm really hoping it never gets to the point where I have to eat beaver.
I would love to eat beaver.
dude, it's actually really good. It's just it is fairly difficult.
I've heard
to
that
hunt.
before.
I wanted to eat groundhog.
This is
That little
the dude that
bastard
was-
that dug into my basement that I caught. I almost thought about just putting a
All right.
fucking crossbow bolt through its head and then put it in the fucking pressure cooker.
So groundhog is one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitant on beaver, is because I had talked to several people who had eaten groundhog, and it's not exactly great. It's kind of like
It
giant,
takes work because you got to remove a lot of that fat.
it's giant rat status.
Yes.
And I figured beaver would be like aqua rat.
Yes, but they're very clean.
It's actually
Yeah.
it's much better.
Well, they're pure vegetarian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Well,
Lots of shoots and shit.
groundhog.
I don't know shit about groundhogs. They're
might-
land
They
beavers.
might eat grubs and things.
And yeah, bugs and shit.
Fate, Soulfire. Everybody's born with a destiny, right? And we can all say we're not, but at some point, some old lady walks up and says, "Oh, you're gonna be," and then holy shit, for the next 3 years, that's all you can think. So you start turning into that. Does it change 1,000 times? Okay, so the way you change your fate is by burning Soulfire. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. It's doing those things that are uncomfortable. Like, this is literally what makes gods. Gods create their own universe. You don't like where you're at, you change it. And it doesn't take some fireball out of your ass. It takes a whole fuck ton of being uncomfortable. That's pretty much it. And most people can't take it. There's zero soul fire in there because they're not born to be God. They're born to be carp. But here you go. Cheat sheet. Grab a boy number. Except for in words. Just fucking do it.
Kind of going to that carnal survival / whatever existence state. Over easy is well done. Think about the places and parts of the world where things are wrong. You just eat it as it is. So something to be cooked over easy, like eggs. Eggs over easy is eggs well done. I mean, what made me start thinking about this was something so very random. Toast. Okay, this is someone else who was talking about this. I cannot claim credit for this line of thought. Okay, toast. It is twice cooked bread. This bread's already cooked. It's cooked
So is
up.
it toasted toast?
3 fried beans.
Yeah. Somehow my brain clicked over to over easy eggs and toast because they go hand in hand. Slap some bacon, call it done.
I don't eat eggs.
It's unfortunate. Eggs are delicious.
I don't know. Somebody played the fucking crazy game with me when I was like 4 years old, I think, and I lost. Now I'm fucking crazy. Man, people do crazy shit when you're a picky kid. Like, to try to force you to try things, and I learned a long time ago. That's why I try not to argue with my kids too much. Like, just fucking try it one time, you can spit it in the trash can and then go away. But put it in your mouth so at least you will be like, oh, fuck, I was wrong. Okay, cool. Throw your fit, go deal with it.
Mindset on foods, there's a way to find, the delectable side of whatever it is, especially if it's all that there is. That picky child, you're picky because you can be.
Privilege. I understand that completely. And I'm not trying to take the privilege away from my kids because somebody less privileged wants me to.
Oh, yeah. But
I'm not trying to do that.
Gain the experience. At least try things.
At least try it. I will give you that. And that's one of the few things I've ever really, like, when they say, I want to go do gymnastics, and then the first one, they get scared. I'm not doing this. Like, I paid for it. I scheduled it. I went through the trouble of getting up on a Saturday goddamn morning and driving your ass over here. You will go bounce on that thing.
Build and gain the confidence through that. Because if you're afraid to try things, if you're just afraid of things, it's going to ruin your life. We literally saw someone at work today, a teacher, had to come in and was like, so we have a child who has a phobia that has to do with germs, and of course, this kid's on a field trip, summer field trip, and he has a germ phobia, and so he couldn't eat outside to eat lunch.
And this child went into a cave?
I know, right? So had to come inside to eat his lunch inside, where it's like there's a roof and a semblance of sanitization.
Right.
And
so there's some form of massive trauma with your child there. I would hate to even venture a guess on what it was. But that, like, phobias are deeply seated for generally terrible reasons. I'm not giving a good excuse for this. I'm just saying at some point that kid was traumatized.
It's going back to that, man. Sometimes the availability of food dictates what it is that you're eating. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't have the luxury of always having to, the foods.
Inverse. When you do have the luxury, I would always take it. If you have a setting on your toaster, please play with it. If you've never touched it in your life, find out what your favorite kind of toast is.
I like dark toast.
Okay, so that's the fun part. There's an actual scale for this shit. Like, the browning on your toast. There's a chemical name for this. Good Eats. If you haven't seen it, go on the Food Network on whatever streaming service it's on, and please watch Good Eats with Alvin Brown.
Good Eats are amazing.
He's amazing, man. Okay, so the science behind it is basically that the browning, that golden brown color, that's what the human taste buds have evolved to like. When it goes black, as soon as it goes black, it is burnt. And that is the exact opposite of what the human taste buds like. The rich people ate the center cut that didn't have the burnt ends. Poor people ate the burnt part.
Best part.
And that's the fun part. So that's the taking the shit into the stick and turn it into a paddle for your boat. Yeah. You're up shit's creek, but at least you got a paddle. Figure it out. And that's the cool part. Like, some people over generations have figured it out. And I'm not saying that further generations haven't royally fucked it up. But, like, ideally, as a species, we grow off the excellent. The better they are.
What part of the fucked up gene pool decided a steak needs to be well done? First off, we used to eat raw meat. That's why we have appendixes.
So you're talking 15,000 years ago.
Ooh, look what frog do.
Okay, so no.
And,
no. Over generations of privilege, the human stomach has evolved that it can no longer eat red meat. And generally, at the beginning, we probably, if we'd have known to cook it, we would have, because primitive man still occasionally got food poisoning. I promise. You ever seen a cat puke? A freaking apex predator, dude. And they still occasionally eat something they shouldn't. Like, no stomach is impervious to everything, I promise. Everything will find something that kills it. Look at fucking Houdini. I'm just saying, egos fuck shit up.
Case in point, I still like a rare steak.
You are primitive, as far as men go. Congratulations. I'm not saying there isn't a two-done point.
It depends on how thick the steak is for me.
Like, if we're talking, I don't like it blue.
Okay.
Oh, blue is rough to go.
No,
I'm not one of those shave its ass and put it on a plate. No, I'm talking like that nice, rare, some instances medium rare, especially thicker steaks.
So I think, for me, it's all about the trust I have for everyone involved in the process. Wagyu, I will eat rare. I generally go with a medium rare, but I don't bitch if it's a little on the rare side, right? Because it's fucking Wagyu, like straight. This is certified beef from the time it's born until the time you eat it. Somebody's watching it.
100+ per ounce.
Oh no! You're thinking of Kobe.
It's like
Kobe's way the fuck up there. It's stupid, especially here. There's only, as far as I'm aware, one restaurant allowed to import it.
Wagyu is like
the
$100
American
a pound, isn't it? Something like that.
I haven't bought it in years.
It depends on the grade.
Well,
if we're talking about the Japanese, like
if I'm not
A5.
mistaken, Wagyu is now the replacement term for, and it like makes me cringe on the inside, Black Angus.
Okay, no. Then I'm sorry. Everything I just said about Wagyu is a lie. I haven't known anything about it for a few years now. But it used to be a special breed of cow. It was basically the Kobe beef that somebody had gotten a hold of, a few of them, and permission to breed them with something.
So the way these cows live, they don't
the Kobe
run around. No, what they use, like in Japan.
Yeah, the Kobe cows.
Yeah, they do whatever they want. They don't walk around a lot. They don't get a lot of exercise. They get massages daily, and they drink sake.
They're only raised on a government preserve, a federal government. Like literally, you're not allowed to blow a horn on a car within so many miles of this farm.
Yeah.
They live zero stress. Massages daily. But they actually, they let the cows decide if they want a massage or not.
Mm-hmm.
They have people sitting, one for every cow. And if they walk into the room, they get their massage. If they don't, you don't get your massage tonight. Sorry, cow. Go enjoy your sake. Because I think they have that on tap. Literally. Like, they just give them as much as they want. And the cows do self-regulate, funny enough. It's an insane process. And I understand why it's so expensive. And I guarantee it's the best beef on the planet. It's fucking magic beef. Somebody figured it out. There you go. You want to try magic food? Order yourself some Kobe. I think you have to go to New York City or Japan.
These days you can get it shipped.
Can?
Frozen, yeah.
I don't know about that. There used to be one importer. Like one guy, if you wanted Kobe, you had to know this guy.
I think it's more available now.
Probably, but that probably means the quality's dropped off. Like if they're calling Black Angus Wagyu,
like you have your grades. You have your A1 through A5, I believe.
Yeah, they've added grades to it. Kobe used to be Kobe, and they didn't.
I don't think Kobe's included on that. That's just Wagyu.
Oh, okay. Still, I mean, it's already bastardized. Wagyu used to be
like you can't call it Kobe unless it's from Kobe. Just like you can't call champagne unless it is from champagne.
Sparkling white wine.
Well,
sparkling white.
The reason I used the Black Angus reference was because where a lot of restaurants and everything they were really on this craze of these Black Angus burgers. Okay, well, Angus beef. Yes, Angus is a breed. I think it's Black Angus. I mean, shit. Okay, it's just the color all Angus beef. Angus beef is black.
It's the breed of the cow.
Yeah.
And the Angus breed, its lineage, they don't have any other colors. It is black. But that's where interbreeding with different breeds like Herefords and these other breeds, they were creating black and white and black and brown, these miscellaneous others. And so the more pure, watered down Angus breed was the Black Angus. And that's where like McDonald's Black Angus burgers, they weren't just Angus burgers, they were Black Angus. Yeah. So it was a watered down version of the breed. And that's kind of where the modern, like, dude, it's even, what is it? Arby's. I think I saw Arby's offers a Wagyu burger.
Oh, their burger. Yeah, it's a mix with beef and Wagyu.
Okay.
And it's not very
Retract everything. They fucked that up too. What? They pull the soul out of everything good. Wagyu, I mean. Prana. I think it's pronounced prana with an N, but I could be incorrect. So basically, you mentioned chi earlier. That's your inner energy, right? So prana would be exterior, life energy that is not contained inside a living being. So the trees, right? They're prana batteries or antenna or something. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but they're the yin to our yang.
It's just like a yoga thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the fun part. This is one of those words I have no idea how the fuck I know it. There's a bunch of those in my brain. I probably read something obscure at some point and loved it. And
it's Sanskrit.
How do I know the name Albion? I don't know, man. I dream about the shit or something. Okay, so anyway, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, hey, there you go. How do you pronounce prana?
But anyhow,
Ramana.
well,
Okay.
imagine it as a tree existing for such a long time frame, long time periods, especially these older breeds or species of trees that are hundreds of years of just sitting and collecting the literal world's energies. It is plugged in. It is hardwired to the world with its root system. But it also comes up into and collects any radiant energies from its giant, as you put, antenna of existence.
These things could very well be interconnected. There's a very good chance they communicate and have just chosen a non-violent. Like, I'm not saying they could move or kill us, but I'm not saying they couldn't. I have no idea.
So, as we know the trees that exist now, like hardwood trees, sharks as a species are older. We've covered this in previous times, but
Well, I mean,
however, it doesn't mean that they still haven't existed for so fucking long as something here. Have they developed some semblance of sentience or purpose beyond what we know or understand? Possibly. Hell, we don't understand the full function of some species. Where the hell did a goddamn platypus come from? Please, for the love of fuck, tell me. How did that serve a purpose at one point in the evolutionary chain?
so imagine a whole grove has a consciousness. Imagine them as something greater than just a tree. Their roots are connected. They spend their entire lives in close proximity to each other. Like, just because we can't understand their communication doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just never been vital to our existence to know what the fuck trees are doing. Maybe they tried to wait so long. They might win. They probably will. We will nuke ourselves to death before the last tree dies.
We'll use the last tree as the launching pad for our nuke that finally kills the world.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So, interestingly enough, I cannot say whether we have been using trees or animals longer for our existence and survival, because we need trees for the weapons to kill the animals to survive.
I would say the most primitive man probably chased down prey just like a baboon or something would.
And I think from there, it probably turned into chucking rocks.
Yeah. So the creation of the wheel, I know it sounds like that's the beginning, but there were so many steps to get to a wheel. I mean, you had to have a chisel or some shit, right? There were lots of things invented before that.
I think they figured out using wood for weapons, probably some kind of internal group struggle, and they just picked up a random stick and beat the shit out of somebody with it.
Something learned to use it for a practical application, because, I mean, hell, even monkeys will use sticks to get ants out of an anthill.
Yep.
So,
They've been
which
evolving
crows
too.
do that too.
Primates' relationship with humans, it's been terrible. We're terrible creatures. Like, truly. We put them in cages.
Harambe!
We slap the shit out of them until they learn to speak our fucking language because we refuse to learn to speak theirs.
Horrible.
I'm not saying,
experience.
like, Jane Goodall was a fucking saint. She did so much to further relationships between us and the higher primates. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's pretty short and simple, I think, honestly. We fuck them over every chance we get, and they're cool as shit to us. Most of the time. Every once in a while, they fucking snap and rip somebody's arms out of their socket. Most of them are a very leave me alone and I'll leave you alone kind of thing. Like, especially the alpha. The alpha is the only one dangerous to humans most of the time. All the rest of them, whether or not they think you're a threat or not, they'll go and the alpha will deal with you. Like, that's just how it fucking works. If you try to fight the human, the alpha's gonna kick the shit out of both of you. And that dude doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's there to mate. I mean, it's a pretty basic relationship until humans fuck it up.
Question
That's
is,
kind
will
of human
some
nature is to fuck everything up.
We're a virus.
Will some of them eat mushrooms and learn to adapt to our technology?
I mean, it's possible. It's very possible. The stoned ape theory, like that's where man comes from. Radioactive stoned apes.
So, that's...
From the sea.
That's
Shit, I have to start writing.
That's one of those ones, you know, like, again, if that's where man came from, why is that not still an existing thing? Mushrooms still are there, primates are still there.
Who's to say they don't? And we're talking wild ones. Like, what are the odds a random ape stumbles across a random psilocybin mushroom? Not terrible, but not amazing, right? Like, but maybe the wild ones know where to go find them every once in a while. But they're smart enough not to do them all the time.
Animals do like to get fucked up.
They do.
Jaguars and dolphins are two of the most prime examples I can think of.
I didn't know jaguars got fucked up.
Yeah, there's a bark they eat that gives
ayahuasca or some shit, probably.
It's like
They're jungle
big
cats, right?
catnip.
Times 100 if it's DMT. If it's the ayahuasca I'm thinking of, it's strong. I don't know how much they eat or what kind of dose it takes to do what it does, but
It's goddamn cat. They probably just gnaw all the shit until they fall over.
I mean, you're talking, and the ayahuasca, the ingested.
But apparently, that's how they hunt. Is they hunt and fucked up all this shit.
I can see that, man. Heightened, ultimate. So I have a theory that cats, anyway, are on the astral plane as much as they are here. Like they
I think that's a common theory across.
Yeah.
Many
That's why they
things.
just sit and get pissed off, or they'll get zoomies because they're not here.
Egypt, especially.
Okay, so that's where, like the perceived understanding of like the functionality of gray matter. And cats are interesting because like they have more neurons per mass within their brain than any other mammal. It's so densely packed. Like that's why their reaction times are so quick and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think we may have even covered this on a previous one.
Mm-hmm.
But then put that on a psychoactive drug. These densely packed neurons firing on super overtime. It's like throwing it on a high octane fuel.
See, this would be one of those nurture factors over nature. Like, were they born as an apex predator? Yes, but then something taught them how to do it on DMT. Like, you know that has to be inherited. Like, there's no way a leopard just wanders by, jaguar, whatever it is, and starts chewing on this random tree. I guess maybe the smell or something? I don't know.
Probably.
I can't imagine their parents wouldn't teach them in a normal environment, though. Like, because cats do that, right? They keep their single young around until they're basically adults. If it's two females, I think a lot of times they'll even stay together until one of them's injured or something. Terrifying. Not one jaguar, but two. Lightbringer PJs. This is a fun one. So, this one I think is kind of important because I'm doing it to a bunch of people that might be listening. It'd be, I guess, maybe nice to explain to them why. Okay, so are you familiar with PJs? Pararescue jumpers. They work for the United States Air Force, right? The most badass of all the special ops, in my opinion. These guys literally die in training, FYI. Like, they are drowned. They made a movie about them, but that was Coast Guard version where they jump into the ocean to save people.
Didn't they have that Ashton Kutcher
Yep.
or whatever in it?
So that was the Coast Guard's version. The Air Force are like the ultimate SF medics, right? These guys jump anywhere to save you.
In any weather.
It doesn't matter. I guess I am going to focus on the Coast Guard version because very rarely do I think the real PJs go out deep ocean. Like, that's Coast Guard job.
Mm-hmm. Which, a very underrated wing of the military.
I shouldn't talk shit about them. I mean, good job, guys. But, like, those are the guys that really didn't want to go to war. Like, they wanted absolutely no chance. And there we go. That's why all the other branches hate on them, including the Air Force. Just FYI. Okay. So now that we've established PJs, I'll get to the actual fucking point of this. The guys that jump out into the ocean to save people. That is, by far, you have a huge set of fucking balls. And you deserve an award. Because to jump out of a perfectly good helicopter in 40-foot seas into the ocean with virtually nothing, not only that, but you, like, let's say they're conscious. Do you know what your average person's reaction to being saved is?
Drown the person.
They will drown
you.
you. And use your body as flotation. At that point, they have zero fucks. Terror is full-fledged. Like, these things are rabid animals backed into a corner and poked with a fucking taser 3 times. So, do you know what your average PJ does in this situation?
Knocks him the fuck
Billy
out.
club straight to the side of the fucking head. I'll treat your injury. I'm the best medic on the fucking planet. I'm one of the top 15 medics literally anywhere on this earth. I will figure out your minor head injury when we get up there. After I treat your hypothermia and whatever the fuck.
I doubt it even gets to that. I mean, they're trained to know exactly how to put somebody out without doing
a blow to the head is always going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be like
some brain cells.
We'll give you some
it happens
Tylenol
every time.
and
But yeah.
Like, it's
We're
fun.
talking the difference between a bump on your head and
literally
concussion.
drowning. I mean, to get someone to go unconscious, it has to be. But generally with the terror, like, they go into shock pretty fast. Whatever. It is easier to drag a lifeless body. Basically, if you just shut the fuck up.
They don't knock you out, they come up behind you and they choke you out.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to render you unconscious as fast as possible. And odds are, person is looking for any light in 40-foot seas. Helicopter. Oh, look, there's a guy. Yeah, if they're still floating, they can swim. They're going to get over there, if at all possible. And the PJ's coming right for them as fast as possible. So, I got really distracted. Okay, the Lightbringer version of this. Imagine jumping into high waters to save someone from their mental illness. This shit sucks. And I have no billy club. You start to drown me, you're on your own for a little while, kid. I got my own shit going. So until somebody gives me a billy club and I can drag lifeless fucking bodies across the victory line, you gotta chill the fuck out. That is the name of the game in 2022. Chill the fuck out. And do it as healthily as possible.
Well, that's not an easy task. After the past 2-3 years,
then that's exactly why it's the name of the game. They've got everybody fucking just ramped up.
We go from FAFO to chill the fuck out.
No. they run very close in hand. I'm gonna chill the fuck out. Fuck around and find out. Like, don't make me be mean, because I will. Please don't make me be mean. I don't want shit to do with being an asshole anymore. But fuck around and find out. I'm good at it. Scary good at it. That was episode 20. If you're still rocking it with us, thanks.
Thanks to the people that stuck through for the last 20.
Putting up with our crazy shit on a weekly basis. That's good job.
If you can follow this estranged mess.
Seriously, yeah.
Sorry, no buttons, but wah, 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 wah.
Soon. Maybe for episode 50, we'll have buttons.
But for now, this is episode 20. Thank y'all.
Fucking Tuesdays. Bye.
Bye-bye.